The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome, everybody, to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. And we got a little bit of back and forth going on here today as we start the show and we look at the S&Ps. We're up 3 points. We went down to a low of 2045.50 on the S&P cash, so we're almost 20 points higher than the low of day. But I suspected we probably would do something like this. Yesterday, we talked about what would happen if we kind of closed below that 2068, 2070 level. Now that level is going to act as fairly strong resistance. And I think we're probably going to be looking at that level for a little while. The question will be what happens as we go into the close tomorrow, and is there going to be any big news? Of course, the only real big news, I think, out here today is more geopolitical. We certainly have some movement on the Mideast front, and that's really started to heat things up. We've got crude up a couple of bucks, which is what, about 4%. Still in this bigger trading range from about 45 to 55 bucks. But I suspect most of what we see today, people are attributing to the wrong reason for it. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm not putting any bets on crude out here, but I do think there's been a major policy change in the United States, and that's really starting to sift through the energy sector. As we said several years ago, everybody wanted to buy coal all the way down. I said, as long as no one's going to do anything about it, the president has said he basically said he was going to bankrupt all the coal companies. And I have a feeling that why it's a subtle undertext here that there is a policy change, and at least to this point, no one is going to push back on it, and we'll be talking about that today. But I think it really involves a change in at least U.S. policy for the next 2 years until another president comes along. But I do digress. Anyway, for a volume, a little less than we had yesterday, and that's 2.14 billion shares as we start the show. That is the New York Consolidated Tape. That's everything that is traded that could be on it. And I don't know what else you can say out here. But that. And we're 2 points higher, and people are starting to finally think that maybe they need to buy some downside protection. Interestingly enough, I did not see a lot of that this morning. There was a tiny little bit of people thinking that maybe they either needed to get short and or that they needed to start buying downside protection, but I didn't see much of either. In fact, there was a huge buy in volatility, and someone's buying volatility that would be basically next to nothing out to 2017. So unless he knows something, which I don't think he has, I think somebody made a major wrong bet on the market. I always bet on more volatility, generally not less, when things are going on. But could it happen? The answer is yes. But someone bought 100,000 basically puts on the VIX. And there's a little bias to that. So as time goes along, those things are going to do better just if everything stands still. But they're severely down there. Basically, the VIX would probably have to get and hold probably 9 or 10 for a great deal of time, which means that we'll all be in the bread line if this guy's bet pays off. Now, I guess there is the opposite end that maybe he's going wildly long, or I mean wildly short, and wants some kind of downside protection if the market goes flat. Maybe he's selling spreads or something. But 100,000 puts on the VIX, kind of a big bet. But that's what we've had over the last couple of days, and severely long-term ones in 27. I think they're January 2017s. So it is a kind of a watershed deal in that somebody, a big man of the street or woman, if that's who they'd be. I have to watch it now. I just noticed in the news today there are 10 words that I cannot say, or the Hitler Youth are going to come after me. And they're not bad words. They're just words that a political group is saying that if you say these, they will come after you. And they're not big words or even bad words. In fact, if we used them every day, no one would say anything. But what can you say? I think a lot of people never read 1984 and Newspeak, and I think every kid in school should be forced to read it, because basically that's basically what they do. They change the words to everything so nothing has any meaning anymore, and basically tell everybody what they can and cannot say. But I do digress. In fact, somebody, one of our engineers, 7 dirty words you can't say on radio. Nope. It's something, the words that they don't like are shrill and a blast from the past, and anything that they wouldn't like their political candidate being called. And they sent that to the New York Times, I think. What was the Post? I think it was the New York Times. All the words that you can't use against our political candidate, or we'll call you all kinds of bigoted names. And they weren't anything out of the weird. But I do digress. Of course, free speech is a big deal to me. Hopefully it's a big deal to everybody. Unfortunately, the people that tend to be the most broad-minded have the least desire for free speech for others. So what can you say? 10,000 puts on what? On the UVXY. Mr. Confetti Wars asked in the den. Yeah, they bought 100,000 puts on the UVXY. Look on those January 2017s, and you will see them show up. Anyway, other things going on out here. We were up a couple points. Now we're flat on the S&P cash, 2.2 billion shares. And I do digress. If ignorance is bliss, I wouldn't know. If there's two things I hate, it's apathy and stupidity, and I just don't know if I care anymore. And it's time to warm up some history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Modern healthcare takes a giant step forward today when cardiac surgeon Mr. Leali conducts his first successful open heart surgery, repairing a patient's ventricular septal defect in an operation in the University of Minnesota Medical Center. St. Jude's Medical Center and Medtronic becomes two of the huge companies that make medical devices that later grow out of all this research, like stents. And that was on this day in 1954. And we just think of all the things and the companies and the people that are employed, that a lot of these seeds were planted a long time ago before they became major oak trees of today. But on this day in 1954, open heart surgery and a lot of business around it, like stents, starts off its deal. Of course, people and broker-dealers acting badly on Wall Street. I saw this run through the FINRA news feed out here, and that is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Of course, this is the fox watching the hen house, since they are basically paid for by the people that they are supposed to overlook. How come it doesn't work this way when we're getting tickets from cops? How come I don't own the police department and get to put a little pressure on them? That'd be the equivalent, wouldn't it? If I owned the police department and they pulled me over for speeding and I said, hey, you know who owns you? It's me. I'm paying your bills. Of course, we do that. We just, for some reason, let the cops get away with it. Anyway, I'm digressing again. What happened? We found out that, or at least they got what was it? First New York Securities LLC got its hand caught in the cookie jar doing naked short selling of 14 public offerings. And both of the, or most of these public offerings were very small offerings. But basically, these people were shorting stocks that could not be shorted on the day that they came out because they knew that they were giant turkeys. This is in violation of Rule 105 and Regulation M. And of course, they had to give up the cash that they got, which was a little over $500,000, fined $400,000. But here's what ticks me off. They were only prohibited from participating in secondary and following on offerings for only 6 months. Don't you think you do something that egregious that you just not allowed to do it anymore? Well, my thought. Maybe it's not as egregious. I read the press release, and if you believe FINRA, I'm wondering why these guys weren't being goose-stepped out and put in the line to have some nice little pictures taken of them with numbers underneath those pictures. But I guess that's why they're the big cheeses at FINRA, and I'm just a guy that bloviates a bit on TFNN. But I do digress. That's about it on that. Or like they like to say, that's all I got to say about that. And of course, probably the biggest movements out here today are SanDisk, SNDK. I will give you a big, huge I told you so. I didn't know when this was coming, and I was not shorted. I knew that eventually it would happen. We've talked about this, probably since Christmas. And there were two major factors in SanDisk and Micron. One is the company that burned to the ground was once again building memory, and so there was competition once again. High links or high jinks or high nicks in China. The other thing is Samsung's a giant $3 billion facility to build more. Oh, I'm told I could say, I informed you thusly. Anyway, in fact, I'm going to get a drop for that. I informed you thusly. I'll get to play that in the near future. What else? We talked about just the huge amount of memory coming online. Not only that SanDisk and Micron both had problems and that they were making older technology that Samsung basically is licensing Intel's 3D memory. And by doing that, they can stack memory higher and compact it a lot closer. We'll tell you why that's important when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And look at that open interest. If you're watching on Tiger TV or in the Den, that's the UVXY January 2017 number $9 puts. So they're going almost 2 years out, and at $9. So they'd have to be lower than $9 to qualify. So someone's making a huge bet that the market goes nowhere, because even if you're going up, people buy basically some protection. And if the market's going down, people buy protection. But basically, they're making a huge bet that there will be zero volatility in 2017 by the time it gets to January of 2017. And I find that almost ludicrous. But someone made a giant bet. 100,000 puts yesterday with 20, or more than 100,000 puts yesterday, 121. Wonder how many there were the day before. But I think it was over 100,000. Anyway, I do back up. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And we'll continue on with SanDisk. I was saying that I warned you thusly, which is now going to be a new segment on this show as soon as I get the drop made for it. Hang on, let me clean up some stuff out here. There we go. Just check in here with a few things. There we go. Okay, I just wanted to see. I need to go back one more. Okay, We're up at 1 point on the S&P cash, 2.24 billion shares. Anyway, I warned you thusly about SanDisk, but I can't see anything changing in the near future. There was so much money to be made that basically Samsung decided that it would go ahead and license Intel's 3D memory. And if you're building small hard drives or memory for a smartphone, if you can pack in basically anywhere from 4 to 8 times the amount of memory in the same chip, that's a big deal for space saving and weight saving. And Intel's technology is all about building a transistor on a transistor, basically high rises in these small chips. And for most people, you don't know how thin one of these chips truly is. Almost all of it is plastic packaging. Almost very little of it is actually component. And what they're doing now is making a lot more of that plastic actual memory and being able to stack it high, as they say, and let it fly. But you know, basically SanDisk and MU are losing a lot of those contracts for the phones going forward from Apple and some of the other big manufacturers. And of course, Samsung themselves using their own memory means that the biggest manufacturer of Android phones, of course, is also going to be problematic. Don't know how well Samsung's going to do selling into China, but it is a big deal out here. What else do we have going on? That was one thing. We got a few others moving. Let's take a look at MU real quick. In the meantime, you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. Micron holding up just a little bit better. It's going up against its previous low out here at 2632, which is the October 15th, 2014 low. 50 million shares. It got into it with 35 million shares. I think these things are going to take a long time before they come back to true commodity pricing. But these things are probably going to take the stairs back down. I don't think that SanDisk is the idea where these things just blow up. But I have a feeling that they'll back these up a bit and get back into wholesale distribution of these stocks at these prices for a while, and then you'll continue to see these things pull back. Memory, since probably about the mid-'80s, had been a commodity market. It's not like you build a specialized chip. Your chip has to work with the specs of the memory consortium. So it's not like you build something that no one else truly has, other than maybe smaller in a better package. But memory pretty much has to work on the same clock cycles and tick cycles and power and a lot of things. So you can't just have one manufacturer of memory, because what happens if they burnt down? You got to have a backup. That's probably the biggest problem that Samsung has. To solve that, they built 2 different factories away from these each other. So if one gets hit by a meteor, the other one presumably would still be around. But those are qualifications in the contracts for these big suppliers, that you build separate factories, that you make sure that you've got multiple suppliers for all the input stuff that you have, because nothing would be worse than not having product when it's time. You got to make hay while the sun shines. We'll be back. We got a lot of stocks to look at. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. We're going to look at a few more stocks out here. We looked at Micron. There was one other I wanted to look at out here, or two, before we get going. Lulu is one. This was one of the biggest movers out here to the upside today. It's given about half of that back. We talked about that earlier, maybe even yesterday or a couple of days ago. This has come back into this gap up that's acted as support. That is, what else out here? Just, you gapped up on decent volume on the 12th of January. 10 million shares. Got back into it with 5 million shares on March 6th. Yesterday, you got back into it with 4.8 million shares and a little bounce out of here. I imagine you're going to get some consolidation out of Lululemon, but kind of interesting to see it give half of that back out here today. The other one is 5, and that was on earnings. This is the $5 store in the malls. I think just a huge amounts of shorts in this, and the world didn't end, and they popped the stock up to $36.36. It gave about $1.50 of that back or so, but up on volume today. Probably good enough to get into that candle of the 9th of January that had 10 million shares. We got 7 million now, so we'll see what the end of the day brings. But this thing's probably got a lot of road to hoe, as they say. going back through this big gap down in the near future. You know, I guess it's easy to get incredibly pessimistic about these mall stores. But occasionally they come back. I haven't been in a mall very much, but certainly the last few times I've been in them, incredibly vacant. I don't know if that's a sign of the times or Amazon getting on its high horse and basically taking care of business, but certainly doesn't seem like the kind of traffic. Now, Christmas, different kind of thing, but right now, last two times I've been in the big mall around here, just been very quiet. In fact, there's two malls that I occasionally go to. I have to pop in. Neither one of them very busy on the weekends. Of course, weather is about as perfect as you can get down here in Florida these days. So that will be it. You can always email me at path@tfnn.com like we did yesterday. And Thunter was nice enough to send me some links on Monsanto and their chemicals. All I can remember about Monsanto and their chemicals was growing up in the 70s, where everybody was a pothead and worse. But the true stoners at the time had bought the Monsanto T-shirts that said, "Without chemicals, life itself would be impossible." And they liked wearing those around, which I thought was very interesting. Monsanto probably didn't like it. All the stoners of our time. AMN Healthcare Services, AHS, the symbol on this one, trying to buck up to these highs. Not a lot of volume. Going through the February 20th high at $23.23. 3 million shares went through it yesterday with 800,000 shares and 200,000 shares today as we come back up. Amcor Technologies, AMKR. This one's back into its gap where it gapped up fairly significantly. So it should be at fairly decent support levels. You'd think I wouldn't buy it until it got back to around 750. But pretty interesting to see these gap ups with good signs of strength coming back into the level of strength. And what you had, 7 million shares there. You got about 100,000 today. You might not get that 750, but that's what I would be waiting for. There is another political event happening out here, and that is provisions of the Patriot Act are sunsetting. And Booz Allen, of course, no one knew who this company was or what they did before Mr. Snowden, but it appears like there's enough heat on Congress that they're not going to basically go back with some of those issues, and some of this could affect Booz Allen Hamilton. This thing is at least at support, but came down on fairly heavy volume yesterday on that news, and that is back into that level. Well, it had 1.1 million shares, but certainly didn't break the 2.2 million shares of February 10th, $28.12. But this breaks that level. Again, your next real big low is $24.86. One of the stocks I've been watching for retail out here has been Conn's. This thing had disastrous earnings, got down to $14.02, got some high volume, kind of came back and tested it, still needed to go down another 96 cents on January 22nd. Just didn't get there. Did get into the candles with light volume, but my guess is eventually this is going to make its way back down to 14.02 cents. If you don't have a Conn's around you, I don't either. It apparently is a combination of a rental store for TVs and that kind of stuff, and Best Buy, kind of a cross between both. You can buy stuff there and you can rent it. And they've had a lot of problems with collections over the last 6 months, and that's what blew them apart back on the 9th of December. This thing has slowly started to come back up here. And again, there's not a lot of retail companies now in the electronics business. And, just a horrible thing happened in Radio Shack. We're going to talk about it tonight in the Tech Insider. Basically, they had a policy whole or taking care of your data, anything you gave them. If you bought a smartphone from them and they got all your data, where you worked, what you did, credit rating, all that kind of stuff. Apparently, Radio Shack's creditors, now that they're bankrupt, are talking about selling it all. And now we have a bunch of congressmen running around wildly trying to pass something before this goes off. So that just because a company goes out of business doesn't mean the contracts with them protecting your data go away. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night. It is that. Well, thank you, Z in the Den, for posting the Meet the Surveillance Act Repeal Act. But I think there's some that are sunsetting too. I don't know if that's in that article. But Booz Allen would be probably the recipient of less cash since they do almost all of that work, and that's who Mr. Snowden worked for. So they probably have a black eye on that deal, at least for the government. Now, what we had in Best Buy out here is this thing back into the trading range. Even if you were the most conservative and used the December 23rd high at just 6.2 million shares, you basically broke through that $40.03 high on lighter volume. 4.6 million shares on the 16th of this month, 4.9 on the 17th, 4 million shares on the 18th, and 3.4 million shares. And it rolled right back in to the larger trading range, which is just under that $40 range. Had a little downside strength yesterday, not much today. But my guess is that this company will probably do well through the iWatch and through Samsung's release, which is, I think the phones are available. The new S6s are available tomorrow, and I think they ship the 10th of April. You've got the iWatches, and my understanding is Best Buy is going to be selling those too. So you're probably going to have some decent crowds in Best Buy, probably around till May. After then, there aren't a lot of new products to come on and generate a lot of new juice. So I'd be watching both Cons and Best Buy for kind of a long summer. I don't see a lot of new products coming out for next fall. And these companies like Best Buy can take quite the hit when there isn't the kind of traffic generating product to bring people in, and sell them lots of other things. And, maybe high definition, super high definition, ultra high definition TVs take off for next Christmas, but I think we're still maybe another year away. So watch out for this thing. I think it could go sideways to slightly higher through probably May. But after everybody buys their new S6 Samsung phone and everybody buys their iWatch that's going to buy it at the beginning, I think the product's probably going to underwhelm for a while unless they find a killer app for the iWatch. Look for a long, hot summer at Best Buy. Data, Tableau Software, a very interesting company. I've liked it. I was hoping this thing would trade a little bit better so I could get into it. Actually doesn't look bad here, and a kind of a nice reversal in our day. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more lows, maybe back into $87, but took off with wildly good volume back here. If I can find my Mies. Where's my Mies at? Come on. It's got to be, there it is. When you get 3 or 4 monitors here, it's hard to tell which one this thing's stuck on. The 5th of February, this thing gapped up with 4.85 million shares. And this thing's come back last couple of days, 881,000 shares today, 514,000 shares. I think we still have an opportunity to get back in this thing, probably around 87 if the market supports it. Very interesting software company. Of course, data mining is basically what they're all about, and data is their symbol, DATA. NTAP, can't even say it, NTAP, data storage company. This one's not looking all that bad. It's had a big gap that's acted as support before, back to the January 12th low at $35.88 with 14 million shares. It's come back and tested that on the 24th, 6.2 million shares yesterday, 4.5 million shares today, 3.4 million shares so far. If this closes back above $35.88, you've got to look at that maybe as a pop to 37 and maybe to 39. So nothing I'm probably going to jump on, but I'll let you guys take the arrows like the Pilgrims did. Pioneer Natural Resources Company, PAXD. Just check real quick, see if I have anything else. Let's go to Al in Denver. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing fine, Dave. Greetings from Denver.
You bet.
What I wanted to ask you about is this IWM. I'm in this TZA, and I'm a little underwater, and I just wonder if I should hold my nose and go under.
So you're long or short?
Short.
Okay. Here's what I'm looking at, and that is on the S&P today, that as long as this thing holds below 20, it doesn't close above 2070 on it, I think you're fine.
Okay.
So you got about 10 points of risk up. If you see any kind of volume above that makes you think this thing could close above 2070, then I would probably think that you would be wise to think about maybe closing your position. I like it. I don't think that you've got a big problem out here. So now, being that said, I think it's more psychological than maybe reading the charts. And that is, we've had a big pull down. We still haven't seen people buying shorts out here. So, we're going to continue. I think I said that on Friday, and that is the biggest thing that should concern you is this market with nobody wanting to go short. Because that's where these markets really fall incredibly quickly and why we got this move out here. There are just no natural buyers to come out here and buy it. One pop up on, 15 points higher than the low of day out here on the S&P cash. That's just noise as far as I'm concerned. There's no real signal in this yet. A signal would be going back through the center line of what I was talking about yesterday with that asymmetrical triangle. Once we broke below 2068, I think we've got exactly what we want. We got some acceleration to the downside. And as far as I can tell, not a lot of people flooding to short this market yet. I think you're probably going to find the time to cover the IWM or your TZA, right? That's what you had?
Yeah.
Is going to be when everybody freaks out and thinks that the market's going lower. Right now, I think you and I are the only ones that even think the possibility exists. I assume Tom does, but that's kind of like the sun's going to come up. You can at least believe in a couple of things, right?
Yes.
Okay, I like it. You had a big sign of strength off the bottom out here. What I dislike is the fact that you really didn't have a test of the lows or anything out there, or the highs basically on the IWM. But I can see it. This could be a huge pullback without any real big signal to set it up. So I'm just sitting on my hands. I'm short too.
Okay. Dave, thanks for the info.
You bet.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at tfnn.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of tfnn.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to tfnn.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy. A set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of tfnn.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we'll get back. Anyway, we're off 1 point on the S&P cash, no big deal. Somebody's saying that the miners are being sold out here. I keep on thinking that we're going to see a lot of drop-off in some of these juniors out here. We certainly see the JDST moving today. And this thing had a huge move when everybody thought that gold was going back in the basket. This thing's pulled back fairly strongly. And a nice little pop out here today. I don't know if that means a great deal, not a lot of volume in it. That's the junior gold miners 3 times ETF. But you're basically getting back to probably what should be fairly stiff resistance in the gold miners. Not surprising to see a little bit of pullback out here. I think a lot of people are also, we talked about it at the top of the hour, that there is something majorly going on between the United States and Israel. And I think that a lot of people are interpreting that and along with the Saudis actually getting involved in Yemen. But I think everybody was blaming the Yemen deal, where the Saudis are actually getting basically boots on the ground and airstrikes, as the impotence for the 4% move in crude today. I would also say that probably the relationship with the U.S. and Israel is another huge one. And not to go too far down the political road down here, what we did was basically tell everybody where the Israeli nuclear facilities are in a 386-page report, dumped it out. And my guess is that it's kind of a tit-for-tat thing going on between them. But you're playing with fire anytime you talk about nuclear deals. And I think a lot of people are thinking that this is the start of a huge arms race for nuclear weapons in the Mideast. And if we're not going to stand in and basically say that the Iranians shouldn't have them, then everybody's going to have to go after them. And I think we're seeing kind of a knee-jerk reaction in crude for that today. But I don't know how to look into somebody's mind and see their intentions, but they certainly have me scratching my head for us to have such poor relations to the only democratically elected people truly in the Mideast. And of course, that is also dangerous for us to lose our last one big ally in that region. A lot of other people have a lot of other different interests, like the Saudis, over time than us. But I don't know. But I have a feeling that what we've seen today with the release of those nuclear documents about the Israeli nuclear facilities is a kind of the equivalent when the president said he was going to bankrupt the coal companies. It is a policy change, and if you are investing in stocks in Israel, you're probably going to have to look and see and reevaluate how the geopolitical events in the near future are going to change things. But with the Saudis actually doing something today, with our relationship continuing to deteriorate, with our only big friend out there, we're seeing a lot of movement in crude, and my guess is that goes on into this weekend. And why we haven't had that kind of declaration that we had on coal, I think that we can take probably the equivalent out, that there's going to be a lot of problems between us and Israel for the next 18 months. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. And so when you can, not when you have to.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.